So it's January 28th, I think, 27th, something like that. And I'm out in my garden, and the reason I'm shooting this video is to point out how dry things are right now. You all know that we've had a heat spell and no rain for a long time. But, you know, it's 72 degrees right now at about 4:30 in the afternoon. And I typically tell my clients to have their irrigation systems turned off this time of year. I turn mine off in November and don't turn it back on usually until April. But I want you to look at something, and this is what your plants are dealing with. The soil is incredibly dry. It's very hard to get a screwdriver in here, and you see how powdery the soil is, okay? So this is what I want you to check in your yard, and I already know what you're going to find. It's the same for all of us. So I'm recommending that you put your clocks on, your controllers on, and run a cycle for all areas at least once a week right now. It's not warm enough to use a lot of water, but they are using some, and they cannot go indefinitely without getting some water, some help. You see this rhododendron? It's pretty sad, really. I mean, some of its leaves are kind of rolled over, and that's what plants do when they're dried out. You see this this leaf, see how that's kind of curled over? And it just doesn't have the water it needs right now. So these plants are using a little, so let's give them a little and make sure that just because there's a drought going on, you don't lose all the value you have in your existing landscapes that you've done a lot to create and see them mature and do well. This is when you can start to lose things. You don't want to send them into duress at a time where it's quite easy to keep them happy. So try once a week with the watering. And if that's not doing it and you still use the screwdriver like I did, and you find that the soil is still dry, then bump it up to twice a week and just manage that situation until there's some rain or it gets warmer. But just wanted to point that out because I hate to see. I was on a walk this morning and I was amazed at how many plants are dying out there in the middle of winter. And it's just because people have their systems turned off and don't think they really need to do much about it, but they're losing a lot of plants. And I think it's also because of the frost. You kind of think, oh, the frost hurt them. Well, right now it's the dry and it's the lack of water that's hurting them. So make sure you don't lose sight of that. All right, I hope that helps. Hope you're all doing well. Take care. Here's another embarrassing thing. So I let my lawn get way too low on nitrogen. I didn't add winter nitrogen until a week or so ago. So you see how browny yellow this is? You can see where a couple animals used it for a toilet, and that's why that's green, and there's one spot over there. So if your lawn looks like this and it's uniformly yellowy brown, that means you have no nitrogen left in your soil, and you need to use a winter fertilizer still, because the nights are cool enough, even though it's warm during the day, that that's the form of nitrogen your lawn wants to have. And then that needs to get watered in, and I would say every day for a few minutes, you know, not a full cycle, but maybe a half cycle, just so that starts to penetrate and the grass is able to take it up and start to use that nitrogen and green itself up. So mine's been down for 3 or 4 days and I haven't watered it enough, but it is starting to kick in. It was actually worse than this. So another tip on this isn't a water thing. This is actually a nitrogen thing, and the way you can tell is that it's uniform and there's some green through all of it. That tells you that it's not a water thing. Grass looks different when it starts to dry out, but hope that helps. Thanks.